Okay, sock mending 101. So here's the socks. Nice thick pair of black socks, but as you can see, this is coming undone. And I believe on one of these, usually what I face is a lot of the toe area, and there you go. So there's a spot coming undone. But usually what I see with this particular customer is, right here along the edge, it coming apart. But we're probably not going to worry that with these. And because this is usually what I deal with. So I made this pattern for the toe because, like I said, usually I have issues. The holes coming out here at the edge. So I made this pattern, and you can do this with any sock. Just take, as you can see, this part, and pretty much just trace this area. And this area is already a little bulky. Anyways, but just trace it, and you almost see a little coming apart there, but it's not really enough to do anything. But I will mend the socks, and I forget the term for the life of me right now. I'm just going to look at this one right quick here. And yeah, the same area, which is kind of weird that it's not the toe, but it's right there. It's amazing how they make these socks supposedly so strong, but the areas that have a lot of strain, yeah. But we are going to mend it with thread. So I'm going to go through some supplies. What I do on the interior of anything that I mend on the socks, I have some spare jersey here. As you can see, it stretches both ways, a little bit more that way. But I keep a spare piece around, and I'm so glad I have it. I have some wax chalk and then my pens. I'm not sure which one I'm going to use to trace out the areas that I want to. Some thread. This matches, the jersey, and it's not going to be too conflicting with this. It's really going to blend in nice. And you'll never believe it, but a light bulb. And if you've got a bigger one, you can use it. But this is what I use to mend. I'm going to use some clips, some snips to cut my thread. Of course, my needle. And then I've got some big scissors to cut out this fabric when needed. But we're going to put all of this aside here. Scoot that up. Scoot all these supplies up. And here we go. So we're going to get our first sock, and we're going to find these areas that need some work on. And we're just going to take the light bulb. You're going to do this right side out. And we're going to go to this problem area. And once you stretch it out, you can see. See that? You can actually see the light bulb. But this is how I do it. I just try to hold it real nice. And if I have issues, I always keep a spare little rubber band of my daughter's. And if you want to, you can kind of tie it in place to where it doesn't go around too much. Just bear with me here. Sorry. But just something to help so it's not so much strain on my wrist, because this will get really tired after a while. But we're going to go ahead and get some thread. And I forget what this term is, but it's where you, this is so dusty, excuse me. It's where you mend the sock by going through the original lines of the sock. And I forget the actual term, so I am so sorry. And I remember when I first started doing this and researching it, this is not the easiest thing to do. Oh, I think we got her, guys. We got her. I am going to double. So I'm going to take the string through my needle. And tie it off at the end. But when I was researching this, I would just see this procedure and that was it. And it's not very secure. And the guy I was mending socks for, I mean, he, a hard worker, you know, he's in socks and his work clothes. I wanted something permanent and really sturdy so he wouldn't have these issues, especially in the winter months. This is so crazy trying to do this on camera. I didn't realize how complicated. But I wanted something really sturdy, and they just did this part. And I'm like, how is that going to last a guy another winter? And that is really hard on his socks. And so that's why I do it with the jersey on the interior, but we'll show that later. But really, all you're going to do is go through these horizontal, and then we're going to go back through vertically. So it's really just kind of holding everything together right here, and then we're going to support the backing with that fabric right there. But I'm going to go ahead and get started and just pick a spot. I want to go underneath one of those seams so I can hide my knot here. See? Barely see it. Try to get as close as I can to you guys. Oh, she came out. It happens. Need to make sure you get it in a strong spot, or the thread is not going to stay in. Maybe we do need to go here. Go through one of these braids here. There we go. Hold on. I need to get relined up here. Okay. And we will cover that later. So here we go. We are just going to keep going up. And it's pretty tight. And that wasn't supposed to happen. Maybe I need some new string here. Oh, it completely came out again. That's what happened. These things happen. I love it when I have boo-boos and you guys get to be able to actually see it. It's almost like this knot. There we go. I'm going to even it up. And we're going to do this again, y'all. Yeah, because this is a part I need to be focused on here. But I'm just going to go ahead and get going through it and then pull my needle through. And I think it'll be a little bit more secure. Okay. I'm not going to try pulling it really tight just yet. I'm going to wait. And I don't necessarily want to go up to that green because you're going to be able to see it. Okay. So we're just going to go down another side here. You see all that weakness there? There's even weakness down there. There we go. I don't know if you can see, but we are providing a little bit security. And some of them are hard to get through. You wouldn't think so because the sock is coming apart, but some of the parts are really hard to get through. But just keep, well, okay, we're going to try this again here. There we go. I want to go along that line so it holds my, hides my stitches and holds them together. And I said I didn't want to go up to the green, but I don't think I have a choice. There, we're right below it. So see how much sturdier that is? And we're just going through with some needle and thread. But these little stragglers we're going to cut down once we get done mending here. And I forget what the term is, but they've been doing it for years to mend socks. And like I said before, I was going through and I was like, God, I need something heavy duty for this guy. You know, he wants me to repair socks so he doesn't have to keep going to the store and buying socks every year. I need something that's long term and gonna be warm in the winter but still secure in the summer. And so here we go, up another one. And don't worry about this gap up here that you're seeing. We're going to close it really good. But you see all those splits? So I'm going to go underneath one and through the other. And that's what we're trying to make. Oh, we don't want to go over the green. And that's what we're trying to mimic, is what they actually did right there. But you can already see it closing up. And it's going to really close up. And it may cinch in the sock a little bit. But it's all good when you get done. There we go. I think this is probably the last one or two we will need to do here. But I'm going to show you guys. I'm going to go through there. I'm going to show you guys this one and then I'm going to do the rest. But I will come back. And since I've gone through that way, I'm about to go through the other way. And see that? We're going to go ahead and get our snips. Just make sure you don't cut anything else off. And I think this other one is attached. See, no it isn't. But it's really just trimming down the surface. Can you give me my lighter? Sometimes I will use a lighter. I'm having my handy person get me one, but just very, very lightly. I'm trying to look at it to where I can see. But see right there? There's a lot of just, but I'm just going to skim it and then just pat it down. I want those little extras to not be. So I'm going to turn it this way. Okay, there's another one right there. Let's go ahead and cut that off before we continue, because that's going to drive me crazy. And if you're afraid of it coming undone, just get your lighter and just barely and wipe it out. And there you go. You can't even tell anything. And this is a close-up of it. Okay, so here we go. We are going to go sideways now. And you're going to see a big, huge difference. But what you're really just trying to do, you're really just trying to mimic that braid that you could see through that hole. But it's really just weaving through the fabric and trying to enforce that. But we're just going to keep going back and forth here. It's a little tedious, but I love to do this while I'm getting caught up on videos, whether it's gardening or ministry. But that is really, really secure, and you can feel it. It may be a little rougher than it was before, but this is the outer surface, and with it being men's socks, I'm sure they're not going to mind. They feel a little rough. On the outside. But it's just from the extra threads being put in. I need to do this a little bit better here. Now, I'm not a professional, y'all. I prayed and I wanted a way to be able to make this sturdy. And even if you miss a couple of spots and it's not particularly even, as long as you're weaving in and out, because you see everything is staying intact. But this is why the light bulb is so beneficial. I think they have tools to be able to do this, but I know if you're like me and on a limited income, we can't buy tools for every job because there's other supplies that we need. Okay, almost done. We're just really going, underneath or through the top of these rows. But you can see that is really secure. Really secure. May look a little different here, but that's okay. Once it gets smoothed down, it's not gonna matter. So we are good. Sometimes I'll do a diagonal, but I don't think I need to in this one. But I'm gonna go right by the needle and go through a very secure spot. Run my needle back through that loop and tie off a knot. I'm going to do another one just to be sure. Make sure I grab something really sturdy back there. There we go. And you can feel it. I'm having a tangling issue here. Let me try to untangle it. Well, I may have a real issue here, guys. There we go. You guys can see this. Okay. So there we go. Okay. Well, somewhat. We're still going to tie it off, though. There we go. Now that's sturdy. And we're going to go down and through another area, and we're going to cut. And I'm going to be backing this area anyways, so I will cover up those threads. I'm one of those people, keep stuff organized, keep stuff put up. Okay, so there we go. Let me take this off. Take out the light bulb. That heel part, I think we're going to have to do a lot more repairing to it. But see, there's far away. And it's still the original, but you can tell. And you try to stretch it all you want, it's not coming apart. And you can barely see the threads when it's almost done. So, this one is done on the exterior. And next, we will attack this heel area. And as you can see, it is really weak. Even almost up to here. So this is probably going to be our border to actually mend it. So when we come back, we will do that area, and then we'll get started on reinforcing the interior of the sock. Alright guys, part 2. So this is the back of the heel. You can see how thin that is. We're really going to need to back that with this fabric here to really secure it. And after taking a break and thinking about it, we may not even have to secure this spot on the back side because it's pretty strong. But here we go, we're going to do this part now. So what I'm going to do is grab our handy light bulb, and we're going to slide it in to this spot here. Those are just fuzzies, those are fine. You can see once you pull it up how thin that area is. But yeah, we're really just going to try to mimic those spots right there. Where's my snips here? And you see how the little spaces, it's like they go up and then they go across. And so that's what we're trying to mimic here. We will sew over these little, and sometimes I'll sew over them, but sometimes they're just too bulky and in the way. And so I will just go ahead and snip them. So let's get our thread going here. This is obviously not long enough. So I'll toss that to the side here. I want to make sure I don't lose that. Let me get some more thread here. And snip it. Okay, that one threaded easy. Okay, and find this other end. And we'll group those together. So we got the end here. And take these two ends and tie them off. But I like the double strand. I hand sew so much with the double strand method, unless it's like the quilting thread, but you don't want to use anything that tough on these socks. I mean, you're going to actually be able to feel it. It would be almost like having a double knot everywhere you put in a stitch. So just use your regular polyester or cotton. Okay, there we go. A nice knot there. Make sure this is all stretched out. So we're going to take our spot here. I'm going to figure out where the end is. And it's about right here. So I want to go about one line over from where the major damage is. It's just one of those techniques, I'm telling you. If you don't ask God to help you with your work, I'm telling you, He is so good. So there we go. First line. It's that first line because you're going through the regular stuff that's not really having any issues. It can be a little tough. That's almost trying to poke through. So we're going to keep going so we don't lose our thread like last time. But you can kind of feel it when it's going through. Okay. There we go. And you can tell it's already getting stronger as you're going through. But try to just lift up, lift down, lift up, lift down, lift up and lift down, and go through. There we go. But it is already getting stronger just doing this. And again, I don't necessarily want to go through that gray because I don't want my color to show, but these really thin areas, I may not have a choice here. There we go. Now that's what I want to do. So even if there's not much there, just try to find something to go through here. There we go. And as you can see, that's not, every single, but just try to find something. Because you're not only going to have this, sorry for my cat, you're not only going to have this way of threads, you're going to have that way. So you're going to be able to secure that spot even more. Oh, I went too far on that one. Let's go up, go down, go up, go down, go down, go up. You get the point. But as you can see, some of these areas are really, really thin. But you can see it. It's getting way better. And see, you can't even tell. This area is so weak. So just try to find somewhere to catch it there. And we're going to go across ways, too. Yeah, just find something. And keep going up and down. I don't want to go that far. Yeah, some of this is pretty strong. And then some of it's pretty weak. So it's a way to actually just kind of connect everything back. You can already tell a difference. That's a lot stronger than it was. And we've only gone one way. Okay. Here we go. Here we go. Whoops, too far. There we go. So just keep going up and down. You can use your finger. See, I missed that one. You can use your finger. Yeah, because some of it's really tough and then some of it's really weak. And I want to go a little bit further down here because we've got an area right there that's pretty weak. Alrighty. There we go. Just to the edge of that gray is where we want to go. You can see already, it looks 100% better. You can't even see it there, y'all. And we've only gone through one way. So this is, if it's not that big of a deal, or if it's, your socks at home, you may not want to reinforce, but for doing a job for a guy that's in a working industry, I want to be sure he gets his money was worth. And I want to be sure that he has a sock that's going to last him quite a while. Because men are hard on their socks. It's just one of those things. Most of them wear boots all day, and so you want something really secure. There we go. That looks nice. Already, y'all. So just find a spot here. Went too far there. Yeah, you can hear it. I'm just trying to poke through all these threads here. Some of them are pretty hard to get through, and then some aren't. Okay, almost done with this one length here. Too far. Down and up. Just go down and up wherever you can get poked through here. And bubbles, just cinch it real tight and then spread it back out. Okay. Almost done. Oh. There we go. Oh, that's really weak. That's pretty darn weak there. Uh-oh, my light went out. Just give me a second, y'all. These things happen. And as you guys can see, even without the light, there we go. And God said, let there be light. Thank you, assistant. Mm-hmm. And we're going to go back up because I want to start at one of the edges and then just go down to the other. So I'm going to go back through, like I said, on this side, I usually like to start one thread line over from where the damage is, and that is really weak there. So we're going to go over one more right here. And there we go. That's good. All right, y'all. So there we go. And as you can see, and it may be a little crooked, but I mean, no one's going to be psychoanalyzing your straight line in the different areas. They're going to be thankful that they got a secure sock. But you can even feel, even up here, how weak it is. But we're not really getting any holes yet. And so that's why this area most definitely we're going to reinforce on the interior with that fabric. Okay, let me get it stretched out again here. Get our thread lined up. And we are just going to go up a little bit, down, up. Just trying to recreate those stitches. I am going right below this line because this is where the damage really starts. But I don't want my thread showing up on that gray. It's getting pretty thick to where I can hardly bend it. So I'm going to go ahead and stop there and get my needle run through. And we'll keep doing this line. Oh yeah. You can tell how more sturdy that is. So let's keep finishing this line here. I want to make sure I know where I've been here. So just go along that gray line there, because that's where the damage starts. And it's pretty tight, but as you can see here, you're just working yourself through. Oh yeah, that's nice. That is nice. And see, even though you can see the original color, you cannot see any holes. And you may be able to see your stitches, but that's it. But it is pretty secure. This technique, even doing it like that, okay. And we're just going to keep going back and forth, up and down. Oh, that's a little tight. There we go. And since we're trying to curve over a light bulb, you can usually, if it's a long area, just do about half. You can see that's getting nice and repaired, because I want to go just a little bit further than that so we can cover up this boo-boo here. But I think that's enough. Okay. Just a few more. And that looks amazingly better, y'all. It may be a little bumpy where you did, but it's pretty good. You know what? I am just going to go ahead and cut this off, because we have mended that area, so we don't need that anymore. Okay. Let's get back here. So we probably only have a couple more that we need to do, and the rest the thin areas here, we're going to be backing with that fabric. So it'll be better. And just go up and down, up and down. You're just trying to follow the braids that they originally did. It's not perfect. Yeah, some areas are just hard. We're going to stop there because I'm having issues getting down with that curve. And we need to keep going here. There we go. Now I can get down there good. Just one more area. Well, there we go. That's good. See, when you squinch it, and then just stretch it out a little bit, you can see, you can barely see your threads. And you cannot see through those holes anymore. So this is awesome. I'm going to go down a little bit, so oh, too far. But you just keep going. I mean, technically I would probably like smaller stitches, but as you see when you get through it all, it doesn't matter much because it is really hard to do the itty bitty little rows that they did. There's parts that will get really tough, especially once you get to the end. But as you can see, that's not looking too bad. Not too bad at all. And you cannot see through anymore. So that's good. Maybe just one more row and I think we'll be done here, guys. But this is pretty much getting the exterior. Some people probably think, well, why don't you do the interior and the exterior at the same time? Well, I don't want this gentleman to be filling all these stitches on the interior. I just want them to be filling all that extra fabric. And this is for the exterior. This is making the exterior stronger. As you guys see, I am already almost out of thread, so make sure you get you a long double strand. And I want to double knot here. I'm going to go somewhere underneath a thick piece here. And before we pull through all the way, take your needle through that loop. And when you pull, it knots it off. And I make sure it's a good strong knot. Let's get a different spot here. Okay. Before we pull through all the way, go back through that loop and pull tight. And that is strong, as you could hear it. So let's go back under and through another spot. So there's no seeing of those cut edges on the exterior. And there we go. All done. We'll take out our handy light bulb. But yeah, you can see that there was at one time damage, but it is, you can even see how much thicker it is now. I think it's trying to focus on my nails, not on this. But you can see how much thicker it is. And this gray is pretty thin. I mean, look at that. It is pretty thin next to it, but we're going to secure that on the outside, on the inside, I mean. And that will give it a bit longer time. But this is the area, so what I'm going to do is pretty much just do a circle, and that's going to take care of, you know, both the sides of this area. You know, when I do the toes of the sock, which you guys really aren't being able to see at this example, I cut, let me move everything here. I cut 2 pieces, and I make sure they're, you know, mirror, because, you know, one side of your sock seems to have this big toe area, and then you can tell it slants down with your smaller toes. So I try to just, you know, kind of shape after that. As you see, this is a big toe area, and then it goes down to the little toes. But you're just going to take this fabric and cut 2 of them like this. But for this heel job, I just want 1 circle piece. Excuse me, I have cats. I got hairs everywhere. But yeah, I think that's big enough. And I'm going to go ahead and cut the piece out. And I'm just going to reach here in my kit here. And I think I have something that's just the right size. Yes. I'm going to use this old needle holder. And I think this will be just right. And it will. So what we're going to do, make sure I'm center here for you guys. We are just going to trace it, and you can just use wax chalk if you want. And this fabric kind of moves, so, you know, just work with it. Because it's not going to be, you know, a really huge big deal if it's not a perfect circle. And I love this wax chalk because you barely have to go over it. So that's a nice circle. I'm going to wipe off my extras here. And I'm going to take some fabric scissors here. And we are going to cut this piece out. But I think this will be a nice area. I didn't want a piece like the size of a canning lid. The flat lids that you use on your mason jars. I wanted something a little smaller, so that little needle holder I found was a perfect size that you want. And there we go. We have a nice piece, just like that, to be able to be used. And when I sew it on, I'm going to sew it on this side. So none of my wax little extras are shown through. We will sew it from that side. So that will be the right side for it. I'm going to move all this stuff to the side here. And next, oh, that's the other bad one. We will take our sock, take it through the light bulb and shape this over it, and we're going to start sewing this in. So this was part 2. Next up is part 3, is sewing in the reinforcing fabric. Alright, y'all, part 3. As you see from part 2, we mended this area, and it's so much more thicker and more sturdy. But now, and we cut our piece to line the interior of that piece to be really strong and sturdy for them. And then get our light bulb here. Okay, we're going to turn the sock inside out for this step. Alright. Now we can see the inside, and we're turning it inside out because we're actually working on the inside of the sock. And I actually want to be able to see the inside of that top part that we did. I don't think I'm going to need to reinforce it, but we're going to take a quick look wherever it is. And to tell you the truth, I can't even tell. Oh, it's right here. You can kind of feel it. And it's pretty tough. And this is where I mended it. And if you really, really zoom in, you can see that. But this is the part that we mended. And it's pretty tough. So I'm not too worried about that. But back here, you can see this part that we mended here. And above it and below it is just a little too thin for me. So that's what we're going to reinforce. First, I want to stretch it out with a light bulb. So I'm going to put my light bulb in. Here we go. And there's that area. And that's the area that I want to sew this little patch over. So I'm going to try to stretch it out. And I'm going to take my rubber band and tie around it because I can tell this is going to be a lot of strain. On my fingers. It just, when you're doing it for hours, it can be a lot of strain on your thumbs and the rest of your hand. It just makes it easier. Just bear with me as I try to get this rubber band through. There we go. And this will help. And this is the area we are going to go over. And of course we don't need this. As you see, that's the original. Let's go ahead and snip that off. There we go. And now we're going to take our piece, and as you remember, we cut from that side. You can still see some of my wax. We're going to flip it over to the nice side. And I'm going to take this, and I want to make sure the center is going over where we mended it. And we are just really going to stretch it out a little bit. Not too much. And we're going to go up here through the edges and connect it. So let's get a needle ready. And obviously that's not going to be enough to go around that whole circle. So let's get some more thread here. I want to make sure I get a nice long piece here and snip it. Kind of hard to see what I'm doing here. Let's get our needle and let's get this threaded here. There we go. I'm going to get the other end and tie these together. But this is going to make that spot really secure, and it may be a little bit bumpy in areas when it's not stretched out and on the foot. But once you get your foot in, it stretches out nicely. We're going to stretch out this piece just a little bit. I don't want to stretch it out a whole bunch because there's going to be no more stretch when the sock is put on the foot. That's why we use a good piece of jersey material that stretches really good. I'm going to go ahead and do one more. And I remember searching and searching for ways to do this with a sewing machine, and there's really no possible way to get it inside of a sewing machine. There we go. That's a nice knot. We'll snip off the ends here. There we go. And there we go. Okay. So here we go. We've got it placed where the center, and you can feel it, to where the center is over the area that we mended. And I'm just going to start by stretching out a little bit and find a spot to get started. And I'm just going to go through the fabric so you won't see my ends on this first stitch. I want to be able to hide that knot. This is on the inside, so I want to make sure it's comfortable. And then we're just going to go under a little further back and go up and just barely catch that fabric. So there you go. And this will be our first stitch. Get my thread all tightened up there. There we go. So now we just keep on going. And I'm just going to keep going, and I'm going to, once I get a few stitches, I can start stretching it out more. But you're really just taking a part of that sock and a part of this fabric and stitching them together. But just easy peasy. Not too difficult. It's just a little time consuming and more work, but this just, yeah, and you've got the stitching on the overcast, so it's like we're doing an overcast stitch, hand stitching wise, and it secures that piece. So before I go any further, I'm going to stretch out a piece a little bit and then go a few more stitches, because I don't want to be too terribly bumpy. I want it to be a little stretched out, but not completely stretched out. But you can see when it's stretched out and held in place, you can get your needle through there a whole lot faster. Sorry about that. A whole lot faster. Okay. Now let's go to another area. So you see that's nice. You know, and it just kind of blends in with the other fabric. You're not seeing too much of a bump. There's a little bump, but not too much. But we're going to stretch out again. Hold it really secure in place. And get our thread. And keep going. But this will make it to where we've not only mended the exterior, but there is an extra layer of protection on the interior. And this jersey is nice and soft, so it's not going to be too much. And you'll notice once we get half of it done, we'll really be able to stretch out that other side so it lays flatter. Let's do one more here. And you want to go in a little bit because I don't want to get that very edge. That's going to come out. So you want to go in a little bit on that piece that you got cut. Okay, so here we go. We almost got halfway done already. And as you see, there's a little bump, but it's not too much. And the edges are kind of sealed by those stitches that we did. But really, this is all it is. You're just kind of stretching a little bit of this fabric, and we're going to sew it in. And that's pretty much all there is to it, y'all. I was so grateful to God when He gave me this idea. I sent a long a message, and he's not a texter or a talker, and he was like, oh, okay. So I guess sometimes you don't need to tell your customers exactly everything, but I was so tickled pink about it. I had to let him know how God helped me, and I found a way, even though I couldn't find any resources on YouTube that actually do this. But you want to make sure you don't have any bumps, and we're going to be able to stretch out all that, and it's going to be nice and neat. So you just stretch it out a little bit as you go here. I'm going to move this down a little bit. Just kind of stretch it out just a little bit so you're not being all bumpy. It's nice and smooth now. If I would have left it, there would have been a gap there, a crease. And I don't want a crease. So I'm just going to stretch it out a little bit, hold it in place, and keep stitching here. I don't know if this thread's going to last us. We may have needed to cut a bigger piece, but no big deal there. We can cut another piece. But you're really not stretching out the sock, you're just stretching out this piece, as you can see. But the light bulb helps to keep that shape of that circle in that heel area. Alright, so let's go to a different area. As you see, we're over halfway through. Looking pretty good. So let's go to a different area. Stretch it out just a little bit. And we'll keep on going. Well, I hope you all are enjoying this. I'm telling you, I looked for days and days and days and praying, and you know, the first one I just did the regular stitching that you usually see these creators teach you, but it just wasn't enough for me. And he even mentioned, is there any way that you can apply another piece of fabric on the interior? And I'm like, whoa, that is something I can explore, but I can never find anything. So I really just prayed and asked God's help, and as you see, that's going to turn out real nice. So I'm just stretching it out. See, if I would have left it and if I would have sewed it, there would be that crease. So just stretch it out a little bit and keep that circle shape, and everything will be good. I don't know, we may have enough thread here. But I'm doing about an 1/8 to 1/4 inch. I'm not really being very particular of it. But the stitching is sealing in the exterior of it. If you wanted to go all out, you could serge these pieces or sew around it. But with it being such a small piece, you know, you don't really need to, because you're covering the exterior with these stitches. So there we go. So there we go. And this last part, you have to stretch quite a bit so you can keep that circle shape. But as you can see here, it is looking nice. Oh, I don't know if we're going to have enough. Let's see. We will see. So let's stretch it out more here. And we're going to keep on going. Because remember, I wanted part of that gray and a part of that black more secure, because I could feel how thin it was. And that's a little too close to the edge there. Let's go in a little bit so the stitches don't come undone. I do need to stretch out my sock a little bit. It's getting a little too complicated here. See, over time this thumb will start aching a little bit, so just do it little by little and hold it the best that you can. The rubber band just really keeps it all in one place. There we go. And as you can see, I'm going back a little bit. I'm not going right here. I'm going back a little bit so it stretches it out more for me if I'm not stretching it out enough. And we are getting there. Just a little bit more stretching. And the more you stretch it, the flatter it is. So we are almost done here. Oh, it's a little too far. Some of this sock material just kind of bunches up on you. Okay. So there we go. Alright. Just one little area, guys. And yeah, this is usually the most problematic spot here. You need to stretch it out quite a bit. And you may have a little crease at the edge, but that's okay. We can sew that down. But I want the majority of it to be flat, so we're going to compensate at this spot. There we go. And just use your thumb, and it'll be fine. Once the sock's completely stretched out, you're not going to be able to see these issues. And I think we're barely going to have enough thread, y'all. So I said, make sure you cut a pretty good long piece. And see, this is going to smooth out completely because I compensated over here. So we're going to keep on going. Y'all, I think we're going to have enough. We are going to make it. Just a few more stitches. And she is done. And I'm going to go ahead and do my knots because, as you see there, I don't have much left. So instead of going overlap and making it really bumpy on the surface, I'll go ahead in the last couple of stitches, I'll do my knot once. So it's not so, ouch, I got myself there. It's not so bumpy. So I know you guys can't see it, sorry. But we're just going to go through that loop with our needle. And then when we pull it tight, it'll make a knot. And I think there's one more little area here. We want to make sure this is knotted really good. And I am almost empty, but I'm able to catch that loop and go through it with my needle, pull tight, and it's knotted real nice. Last one, pretty much right there at the beginning, go through, and oh my gosh, I barely got it. There we go. And done. Alright, snips, snips, there they are. Oh, let's go through, y'all. I want to just go through that exterior piece and then cut off my ends so they're not sewn. Pull it tight a little bit, and you're not going to see that area between the sock and that piece. So let's take this off, and we're going to take out this light bulb. You will be able to see the end result. And so it's like an extra piece just sewed on the exterior of the sock. And as you see, there's some good stretch with it. We're going to turn it inside out. And I'm going to show you here. But as you see, when they put it on, that's going to be really, really nice. So we're going to turn it inside out. Oh, sorry, I am bumping my light and camera. Okay. And you can feel that extra fabric, but you can't really tell. But you can really feel it. You know there's an extra piece of fabric. And because we stretched it out a little bit, there's not bumpy. If we didn't, it would probably be bumpy like that. But I'm going to fold it out and show you. And see, it lays flat. So we did good. And there's the edges of the circle that we sewed in. So as you see, we covered this gray and we covered this black right below. And as you see, it's more thicker now. Before it was like that thin, and now it's like that thin. So really, really nice. This is my go-to, and this will be nice and comfy for him. And there's so much extra protection right there in that heel. Be nice and cozy too in the winter. So there we go, y'all. Mending socks. We do the exterior, and then on some really rough spots, we will go through. And I don't know if you guys do this, but I like to go around, and if I see any problem spots like that one, this is the part we already reinforced in the back. I like to go through and just kind of clean it up a little bit. Some people don't, but I do this with any piece, whether it's sewing, whatever kind of sewing it is. I like to go through and, you know, get all those little extras off. But yeah, pretty nice sock, and that's the area we repaired on the outside. I think that's enough, and she's done. She's ready to be repackaged up and sent to the customer. So I hope y'all enjoyed this tutorial, reinforcing socks, and you can just feel it. Like, that is such a much better sturdy sock, and it's going to be so cushiony on that heel. So like I said, I hope y'all enjoy this. We'll probably come back with another one of these if I get an order to where I'm seeing the toe, major toe area. That one is really bad. I'm going to have to really work with that. But yeah, I wanted to show you guys this. We'll come back when we have major areas in the top toe, and I can show you this pattern. I'm using it, but that's it for now. I hope y'all enjoyed. Blessings to you, and I hope you have a wonderful day.